What's going on, football fans? It's time once again for another weekly rendition of Pound for Pound Live. Now we're doing it on a Monday, and this is not Toby D sitting next to me, as y'all can plainly tell. But we do appreciate y'all joining us. For the folks who are already saying hello in chat, what's up? This is my best friend, my brother, Jonathan. Y'all may have heard me talk last week there towards the tail end. If y'all want to blame anybody for me being a football fan and me being a Falcons fan, and by proxy me doing this, it's this guy right here. Because I started doing all this when he decided to go date somebody and then go get married, and I couldn't rightfully bug him anymore about the Falcons like I did. So that's why I started like doing the whole YouTube stuff, right? So, but anyway, say hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Jonathan.
Look at you.
Well, I apologize for having him come on and torture you guys every week now. If I had known what was going to happen, I might not have married my wife.
Don't say that now. She'll
she
get mad at me.
She knows I'm kidding. I love you, baby.
But so we got another win.
We did get another win.
That's the third one in a row.
It is.
This time at home.
Thank God.
Right. Somebody brought up a couple weeks ago about it, wondering if Mercedes-Benz was cursed or not. But we actually played pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It wasn't necessarily like dominant like it could have been. It could have easily been a blowout. Like,
yes.
Yes. You had not to get like too far ahead of ourselves, but you had that one pick with Ryan throwing in a double coverage.
Essentially a punt on first down.
Right, on first down, right? You could have really laid the wood to Jacksonville, but you still dominated all the way around, I feel like.
Defensively, absolutely.
Right.
Defensively, even when, again, like I said, maybe getting a little ahead, but even in the, what was it? I think it was the fourth quarter. Yeah, the fourth quarter when they get their touchdown.
Right.
When they get their touchdown in the fourth quarter, I never really felt like I wasn't worried.
Right.
Because their offense didn't scare me.
No. The mustache.
Minshew.
Yeah, the magic of the mustache has definitely faded as it tends to once teams start getting some tape on you. Right.
Yeah.
Like once teams start seeing what your tendencies are or what you have seen and start throwing different things at you, that tends to take the shine off of a new quarterback. You saw that kind of last year. I think it was last year or the year before out in San Francisco with that Mullen kid and C.J. Beathard, both of those two.
Yeah.
For a game or two, they came in and just lit it up.
So just quick, I understand where you're coming from. So what's the excuse with Fitzpatrick? Because do they just burn his tape whenever he goes to a different team?
They do, right.
Because then he goes like 6 weeks.
Right.
Looks like the best quarterback on the face of the planet.
And then comes crashing back down.
And then he just goes off a cliff.
Well, they figure he's on a different team, so it's got to be different, right?
Right, yeah.
You don't get the nickname Fitzmagic for no reason, But like magic,
beard,
it's up in smoke,
It's the beard.
Right, you got to get the beard going. But all right, so we start off this game with almost like Devontae of old, in a sense. Like a Devontae, like I haven't seen him in this year, maybe in spurts this year.
Yeah.
But very much looked like his old self, running hard, cutting violently, getting involved in the passing game again.
Yeah.
That was good to see.
Yes.
Maybe you were forced to do that because of Ridley being on IR. You no longer have Sanu, and maybe the trust isn't necessarily there with a Gage and a Blake and a Zacchaeus so far.
Well, I think Gage of those guys is definitely the closest to having that comfort level.
Yeah, he's definitely earning that.
I mean, he's gotten a lot of first downs for us over the last few games, but somebody like Devontae. I've rewatched the San Francisco game multiple times.
Got you. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, that was
beautiful.
So beautiful.
Exactly.
But so I watched that game, and yes, the running game was not, a crazy factor in that game. It was enough
Yeah.
But there were still times in that game where I saw a little bit of that flash of that old Devontae where he sticks his foot in the ground and makes a guy drop his drawers on the
breaking ankles.
Breaking ankles and leaving laundry on the ground and all this other stuff. And then this game there were multiple times where I was like, oh man, that looked like 2016 Devontae.
Yes, very much so. Which was great to see, and I was glad to see. I don't know if taking 15 games into the season that Dirk Cutter seemed like he actually stuck with the run throughout most of the game.
Well, I think that if you go back to the San Francisco game, we did. It just got shut down.
Yeah, no, right.
If like over this second half of the season, for the most part, we're not like run heavy.
No,
we're not even close to 50%. But I think I think first half of the year we were something like 30%, like 35%.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was nowhere close to where we want to be. Now, I'm not saying we got to be 50-50. I think when we're at our best, we're probably closer to at least 60-40.
Right.
55-45.
Yeah, I think you're
range.
pushing closer to a balanced offense.
Yes.
Like I think having Ryan throw 40 and 50 times a game is not a recipe for success.
No. He can do it and we can win that way, but that's not we don't want to do that consistently.
Right. You're not trying to build your season on that kind of stuff. I mean, early on in the first part of the season, we had to do that to get back into games because we dug ourselves such a huge hole in the first half of a lot of these games. So you had to throw like crazy to get back in them. But like you said, it's not something you want to build off of. But speaking on the run game, what's your thought on Brian Hill? He's looked last couple of games. He's looked like the guy we drafted.
He does. Yeah. But the problem was then he looks really good in spot duty. But then the problem is when he went out or when Devontae was out for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
With his tweaked knee.
Mm-hmm.
When he was out for a couple weeks, Brian Hill came in and just when teams had to game plan specifically for him and knew that he was coming, which I'm not saying they don't know he's coming when he comes in rotationally, but they're not going to focus on him. They're going to focus on Devontae because that's who's going to get the majority of the touches.
Right.
But when Brian Hill is the focus, he seems like he's just not that guy when he's used in that way.
Yeah.
As a second
fiddle, I think he does good. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think he gives you that change of pace. He gives you he's not as fast as Coleman.
No,
he's faster than Devontae, though.
Now, I will say this Jacksonville game, he reminded me of Coleman.
Yes.
In the way he was when he was hitting those open holes that he was going and he was making real positive headway. So that much I agree with you there. He's not as fast as Coleman, but he definitely reminds me of Tevin Coleman.
He's got more breakaway speed than Devontae does. Devontae's not going to outrun anybody.
No.
Most of the time, unless he gets a really good jump on you.
Yeah.
But I feel like Hill, if he gets out in the open field, he's got more of a chance to outrun some guys. I like him when he is the secondary guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I kind of want to see Allison some more.
Dude, I am liking that they're finally putting Allison in the short yardage and goal line situations.
He's the new Duckett.
Yeah, somebody brought that up today. Talking about he's the new Duckett.
Yeah.
But
he's a touchdown poacher.
Thankfully, look, at this point, I don't care. That's what I've been wanting for years. How long have I been saying to you I wanted at least a power back on the team?
Yeah, absolutely.
I needed at least one pile mover. And at least it looks like that, at least for a few years, we have that and pretty cheap with Olsen as far as, rookie contracts go.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the chat for a minute. It's not moving too fast tonight, so we're going to we'll catch up here. Jay Holland starts off by saying, "What's up, JR? What's going on, Jay? Glad you decided to join us again tonight." Robert put up a bunch of goat emojis, and I'm going to assume he is talking about Julio Jones.
Who else?
Which we will get into here in just a minute. It's almost like burying the lead a little bit.
Yeah,
but
Twitter's Twitter just made me so
come
upset
on.
this week. Come on.
Then let's see. Ruth says thanks you too. Bug says hey JR and hello Jonathan. Hello, hi.
Hello.
Jay Holland says what's up Jonathan.
What's up?
Fred Butts wants to know what's your thoughts on DQ. I think we'll get into that here in a little bit because by winning a third game that now broaches like we need to talk about that again, so to speak. Speed Falcon for Life says what's up guys, what's up? Falconator says hello as well.
Hello.
Hi. See, Cody Paul says we're underestimating Hill, and we may be. This is the first year that he's really getting into like getting a chance to show what he's got. So
the only reason I say it is just from the admittedly smaller sample size.
True, right.
This year, where Devontae has been the primary back most of the season. Hill has. In the first half of the season, nobody looked good. No running back, Hill or Devontae.
Or even Ito Smith before he went on.
Ito Smith was the one guy that it seemed like he would come in and if anybody was giving a spark, it was Ito Smith. I hated that he got injured, man.
Oh, yeah, because you're right. He was looking real good. So, okay, it says She Cave. What's up, She Cave? Glad you decided to come back and join us after last week's. It says, I think Freeman is getting back comfortable. I agree there. I think after being out for an entire season with concussions, Freeman is just starting to get his rhythm back. Yeah, I agree with that. And also, you got to take into fact that this is, the third game with at least the same O-line?
Yep.
And that has a lot to do with it as well.
And you got Lindstrom back.
Right. So you got Lindstrom back. And as we, you probably missed it. Well, you may have saw it last week. But as we brought up last week, McGarry seems a lot more comfortable with Lindstrom back.
Yep.
Like he seems to be playing with a lot more.
They seem to play off each other.
Yeah, very much. Well. Exactly. Falconator says, I just don't want Quadre Olison on short yardage. I want to get him a bigger role. I agree there. But as far as just his rookie season goes, I'm okay with at least getting him some touches.
Yeah.
And getting, if anything, maybe if we can get him used to sniffing pay dirt with touchdowns, that may pay dividends, later on.
Right. And for all we know, because we don't go to the practices, we don't see what the coaches see.
Exactly.
For all we know, Olison is a tremendous liability in pass protection. And if you can't protect Matt Ryan, then I know somebody's probably gonna say, "Well, what are you going to talk about the O-line then?" But if you can't protect Matt Ryan, if you don't show that in practice that you can do it, they're not going to put you on the field for that.
True.
And so if that's what he's not showing in practice or he's working on, but he's just not there, then that's why you're not going to see him. Except for, hey, you're not going to protect. We're going to give you the ball. You're going to ram it up the middle.
That's it. Exactly. So no, and that's the thing that a lot of us as fans have to keep in mind. We don't get to see what the coaches see during practice. We can only make assumptions about the snippets that we read on Twitter, through articles, whatever, and then what we see on game day.
Yeah.
So I guess we can, 15 minutes in, we can quit burying the lead. Julio Jones become the fastest wide receiver to reach 12,000 yards.
What, 17 games quicker?
17 games faster than the all-time great Jerry Rice. And that's an amazing feat considering he missed a whole year.
Or most of a year.
Or most of a year.
Yeah, he missed most of a year, and he's missed like 2 or 3 games
here and there. Right.
He doesn't play. If he plays all 16 games, he's usually playing banged up.
Right.
And all those things. So, Julio Jones, when he is on the field, even if he doesn't get the ball, he affects everything we do. He
is a force of nature. I know I put that on as far as like the little caption on the
yes, you did.
The thumbnail.
The thumbnail. Yeah, there you go.
English language failing me. The caption I put on the thumbnail is force of nature, but it's true. He's a freak. He's an alien. He's definitely not of this world as far as it comes to football. A man that big shouldn't be able to run that fast with that much body control, but he does. And the fact that at this junction, people still don't want to acknowledge that he's the best wide receiver in the game is hilarious. They've come out with this whole top 100 like all time list or
he's
whatever.
not even on it.
And he wasn't even mentioned.
Yeah, not even
in
not
the
even
wide
an honorable mention.
Yeah, nothing. And that's just like, are y'all even watching the same games?
Well, and I appreciate that wide receivers, especially back in the day. We're talking way back in the day.
Yeah,
it was a different role. It was a different type of athlete. All those things. There was no pass interference.
Right. No. Yeah.
Okay. There was a time where it was just literally you had to fight tooth, claw, nail.
I get it.
To get out there. So I understand. And the passing game, the guys you had throwing you the ball, the kind of ball it was, all those
stuff.
things. I understand the numbers are not going to be there. So I understand you have to look at that. But I saw somebody say at some point, if you're going to start doing these lists, there needs to be a demarcation line somewhere.
Right.
And maybe you want to start in 1980.
Okay.
From 80 forward, if we're going to do a list, 80s forward, that's
one list.
That's one list. We could say
you
who's
could call,
the best.
You could call that like the modern era
right
type deal.
And then from 79, my bad, from 79 all the way back, then we're talking, then you can get into that conversation because there's like 1-to-1, there is nobody that played in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, maybe with some extremely rare exceptions. None of them could play in the game today. They're not fast enough. They're not strong enough.
No, because it's just a different game. It's like you trying to compare what Babe Ruth did to what Barry Bonds has done.
Yes.
And you can talk about
steroids. Cheated. So.
Well, you can talk about steroids or whatever, but it's still like, these guys are now professional athletes.
Yes.
This is what they live, breathe, die from.
I mean, you saw
birth.
You saw the picture of like the wide receivers that are sitting on the sideline drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette.
Right. Yeah.
In a game.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not doing that anymore. Right. This is now become almost like a science. So it is a science.
Yeah.
As far as like, how to, play the game, take care of your body, and all this other stuff.
When you're getting when you get paid millions of dollars,
that's why that's
that is a 24/7, 365 or 4 and a
whatever,
quarter, whatever days it is a year. And that is what you do all year round.
That's it. Exactly.
So
it's a different era. So for him not to even be mentioned is insanity to me. And yes, obviously I'm biased. I'm a Falcons fan, but I look at his body of work.
Yeah.
And for the swamp folks down south, or them trying to compare their guy, and I understand, hey, they want to take up for their guy. I get it.
Yep.
I understand that, but to try to compare their guy to what Julio Jones does, it's night and day difference.
Like
their guy's like a check down machine.
He is, and he's got 145 receptions. I'm not 100% sure how many Julio has. It's in the mid to upper 90s.
Yeah,
I want to say, or maybe even a little over 100. Actually, I think it is. Either way, he's roughly about
35 or 40 catches behind.
40 catches behind, but in those 35 or 40 catches, it's only like 350 yards.
Yeah,
and I think it comes out to like 7 yards a catch.
Yeah,
which Julio Jones almost always averages like 13, 14, 15 yards a catch. In that realm,
right?
So like, give him another 20 catches, he's caught up.
Exactly.
So
it'll be like I said,
he missed a game.
Right, and he missed a game. Correct. So yeah, to try to have that conversation at least right now, in
look, Michael Thomas is a really good receiver.
Yeah, dude, no doubt.
He's a really I don't like saying it.
No, I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. He's a good receiver, and he really is the only weapon on that team right now. Yes. I mean, Kamara is almost a shadow of himself.
I don't know what happened to him.
No, I don't either. But Kamara is almost a shadow of himself. And you're talking about Ted Ginn and
Cook is starting to come on, but
okay.
But then again, he's already been down with a concussion once, so he may end up being one of those guys that's really susceptible to him. So
with that being said, I get it. He's getting all the
he's Marquise Colston version 2.0.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's Marquise. If Michael Thomas was on any other team shy of maybe New England.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Maybe the Packers. But
I was thinking with Rodgers.
But even then, Rodgers has never when Rodgers is great is when he's able to just unload.
Yeah.
And Michael Thomas
isn't that guy. He's not the take the top off, stretch the field. where that's the comparison between him and Julio Jones. Julio Jones can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
He can do your dirty work coming across the middle with the, catching over the middle or running those in-breaking slants. He can run any route on the route tree, period, and also take the top off the defense.
Absolutely.
So, he's a complete.
That's why you always have the one time, and he's probably been other times, but the one kind of glaring example, the one time a team for almost an entire game decided, hey, we're going to single cover Julio Jones. Dude goes for 300 yards.
Yep. Right.
What, 2 or 3 touchdowns?
2 or 3 touchdowns.
And the dude that was covering him got fired the next day.
The next day. Yeah, he cost that man his job.
Until Michael Thomas can pull something like that,
right,
and literally get a dude fired the next day because he just roasted him so bad.
Yeah, we can't even talk.
And that's not even the only 250 plus game that he's ever had.
That's it.
So he's the only receiver that's ever done that. And look, here's what it is. Like, I saw some numbers coming out. It was like Michael Thomas was in his first 4 years, he has so many more yards,
right,
and this and that and the other. But they're like, and they take that same 4-year span. We're like, okay, well, he missed most of this year. If you take his actual games played, the first 452, because I think that's where Michael Thomas is at, or
something of that nature,
or 152 or 154,
yeah, right,
whatever it is. That doesn't seem right either. But I think it's first 454 catches.
I got you.
I think that's what that was.
Okay, so if you compare,
like the number of catches,
right,
the first 454 of them, Michael Thomas was like 2,000, almost a full 2,000 yards, almost an entire season behind
Julio Jones,
because he had like 7,500 or something close to that, and he had more touchdowns. He had more receptions, or not more because it was the same reception, but more yards, more touchdowns in the same amount of production.
I got you. So. Well, let's catch back up with chat here for a minute. We've seen some more come in. Got a special one from Emma Holder saying, "Hi, baby." I don't know who she's talking about there. Would that be? Because it's definitely not me.
I better not be.
Anyway, then Cody Paul says they weren't opening any holes for any running backs until the last few games. Lindstrom is the difference. I agree there.
Yes,
Lindstrom, like he is definitely the linchpin. No, sorry. Yeah, I know. Linspin. Anyway, She Cave agreed with us. All right, good deal. Fred Budd says Freeman runs scared to me now. He hesitates too much.
Early part of the year, I would agree.
Yeah, completely. The last part of the season, he's looked a lot more comfortable.
Yes.
Falconator says Olsen reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. That would be awesome if he has that kind of balance.
Give the man some Skittles.
Right. Do it. James C. Olsen says, "What's up, everybody? What's up, James?" Cody Paul says, "No Falcon ever gets any respect from the league or the press." I agree.
Tommy Nova should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, big time. So. And Matt Ryan should be a consistent Pro Bowler, but that's a whole nother conversation. Let's see. Falconator says, "JR, I know this is off topic, but EA Madden NFL just gave Michael Thomas into the 99 club on Madden before Julio Jones. Very disrespectful on so many levels," and he's shaking his head. I agree. I mean, if anybody out of those two, Julio Jones should already been 99, and I don't even play Madden. But I understand that I see it on social media. I see it on Twitter when people are, so I understand that that's a big deal. Keenan Lulu says, "Rise up from NC." What's going on, Keenan?
Rise up.
And over there in enemy territory in North Carolina there. Justin Tuggle, we have the same season every year. Well, not every year.
No, we don't.
Like maybe the past, no, if we win next week, we'll have the same season 2 years in a row. Wildly different, like in season, but same outcome.
This is kind of getting into the whole DQ talk.
Right? Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and transition into that.
Okay, so here's what I'll say.
Okay.
Again, I hate the Saints.
Got you.
With a passion.
10-4.
Okay.
Right there with you.
If the Saints were, if the entire organization that is the Saints, listened to the Falcons fans. Okay, or their fans were saying the same thing, which they were when they went through 3 straight years of 7-9.
Correct.
Okay, they wanted Sean Payton has to go. I heard nothing but that.
Drew Brees needs to retire.
Drew Brees needs to retire. He's washed up.
Right.
He's this. He's that. Sean Payton, get out of here. We need fresh eyes. We need whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. he goes out. He does his Dennis Allen comes in, does his thing.
Right.
Okay. The organization, now granted, that organization is kind of maybe in a little bit of a turmoil.
You have Benson
the owner and
passing or
exactly.
whatnot. Yeah.
So maybe there's some stuff there that kind of it was able to slip
through and then you also have the fact that they own the Pelicans,
right?
And
so
going on.
Yeah, but they went through 379 seasons.
Yep.
They had horrendous starts, just like we've had this year.
Correct.
And they stayed patient with Sean Payton. Now you're going to say, well, he already won a Super Bowl, but how long has it been since he won a Super Bowl?
Right.
I mean, like we've seen guys win a Super Bowl and then like their careers, like their team goes into the toilet and then they're fired.
Right.
Like it doesn't take long.
Oh, I mean, Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
I mean, and their fans were like, he should have been gone years ago.
Right. And so I see the point that you're making. So I'm guessing you're advocating that maybe we shouldn't be so quick to fire Dan Quinn.
I wouldn't.
I am starting to lean that way, but with a caveat. Somebody put this out on Twitter, and if y'all know who it was and saw this tweet, please pipe up. Somebody said that it would depend on the answer to two questions, whether they kept Dan Quinn or not.
Okay.
First question being, what happened in the first half of the season? Like why? And we'll get to that second. Okay. And why did you start 1-7?
Okay.
And why did it look so bad? Mm-hmm. And then the second question is, what are you going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again? And depending on those two answers, whether they would bring DQ back or not. So I'm going to pose that question to you.
Okay.
What do you think happened? Because I have a theory too. So what do you think happened in the first half of the season?
So I heard something actually I think it was the one of the broadcasters. Might have been Brady Quinn.
Okay.
For the Jacksonville game.
Yeah,
he actually mentioned this. And as soon as he said it and I thought about it, it made sense.
I got you.
Now you guys out there may say that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That's fine. It makes sense to me, which is handing off the duties of the play calling and kind of some of the duties of a defensive coordinator throughout the week to Ulbrich and Raheem Morris, or Ulbrich and Raheem Morris. Handing that off to them allowed him to go back to having the flashcards, play cards, whatever you want to call them, to have their scout teams give the proper looks to the first team.
Okay.
Right. And so that gives us something to prepare for, to be better prepared for when the game actually is being played. And so in the first half of the season, he's so focused on the defense, right? He's so focused on that, trying to do that, but also trying to be the
head coach.
The head coach.
Right.
He's trying to do all these things. And maybe some of that was slipping because if you think about that, it makes sense why literally there were times in the first half of the season it looked like nobody knew what was going on.
That was like
they were
preparation.
Seeing new things coming at them they were not prepared for.
Right.
And so seeing that, and hearing him say that makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't think that's the one thing.
Right. It's a myriad of things.
But I think that thing that could be a bigger factor than what we maybe think.
I got you.
Okay. And then also in general, some guys can do the defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator and head coach.
Right.
Some guys can't.
Exactly.
Okay. Know your limitations. And he may have thought that he could do it. Obviously he did, because he went ahead with it to start the season.
Right.
And if nothing else, if he learned that that's not something that he can do because he needs to be able to see all the different things, and that's just one thing just a little too much for him to handle. If he can admit that to himself, which it sounds like he has. Right. If he can admit that to himself, make the changes necessary so that he can get himself back on track to being the head coach again. Right. And what have you. If he learns that coming out of the season and we do happen to keep him, which again, I think we should. Right. And going forward, I think that's just it's another thing to learn in being a head coach that you just don't do unless you do the job.
Yeah, and in that aspect, I agree. Like, I really feel like there's two things I feel like. One is, yes, I feel like it was more than he could handle. Mm-hmm. And look, I'll be the first to admit that the first 3 years on my job, I probably should have been fired more than once.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I'll admit that to anybody. I've even admitted it to some folks here at work. But they stuck with me, and 17 years later, yep. I'm still here.
Yep.
And, and doing really good at my job, obviously. But, it takes time to adjust to that, right? Mm-hmm. I think where he made a big mistake, in my opinion, and somebody brought it up a second ago, saying about it was Keenan Lewis saying new systems take time. I agree, but I think the system that he was trying to implement didn't work. That 5-2-4 that he was running through preseason and ran the first part of the season, just either the guys didn't grasp it or it was too easy to figure out, for the opposing offenses.
Well, I mean, and then on top of that, you're if what we're thinking is that the scout teams are not running the right plays to prepare you for the team you're about to face. If that happens on top of this new system, then
that's a recipe for disaster.
If your guys know the system but don't know the team they're going against and don't know their tendencies and don't know, okay, they're in this formation, so they're likely to do these things.
Right.
If they don't know those things, it doesn't matter how good you know the system.
Exactly.
It really doesn't.
But then you throw in trying to remember a new system on top of all those potential issues. That does create a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, with that being said, when you went into the, into the bye, mm-hmm. and something I've paid attention to coming out of the bye, I don't think and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I have barely seen that 5-2 formation at all, if at all. I've seen a standard, at least by formation, a standard 4-3 the vast majority of the time.
4-3 under.
Right,
4-3
that's
over.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The stuff that they're used to running, the stuff that they're and you're seeing the confidence come up.
Well, and I think you're also seeing things like Vic Beasley is no longer being. Now he's still going to drop into coverage from time to time, but he seems like he's being used much more as a defensive end. They're moving him along.
See,
that's
what I was fixing to. Yep, that's what I was fixing to bring up. They're not setting him just on the left side or just on the right side and saying, "Okay, go rush the passer." They're getting back to what they were doing in 2016 with the running of a lot of stunts and twists and using Vic Beasley's speed and athleticism to an advantage, so that when he does just straight rush from a side, it's almost like a surprise as well. Yeah, you're using him in a way that he should, in my opinion, my limited knowledge of football, should have been used the whole time. You're using him as a chess piece.
Yep.
And you're able to do that in a lot of ways by, I guess, by also kicking. I've seen him using Grady Jarrett as a defensive end quite a bit as well.
Oh yeah. Well, what was it? The Grady Jarrett. No, it was the Grady Jarrett sack in San Francisco. It was like a stunt between him and
Beasley.
Yeah, between him and Beasley. Beasley was on the outside. They stunted and it worked like it was supposed
to. In the Super Bowl year, we ate Seattle alive with twists and stunts.
Yeah. Well, that offensive line was
bad. I know it was
real
bad. But that's what got Vic Beasley the production that he, had throughout 16, was doing things like that,
Well, I mean, when he got his sacks, every now and then he would have where he would get around the corner, do get the bend and get the strip sack and all those things. Mm-hmm. He would have those too. But the majority of his 15? I think it was 15 sacks that year.
Yeah, 15 and a half,
15
I think.
And a half.
Yeah.
The majority of his 15 and a half usually were he starts on the outside.
Works his way in.
He takes like a step in, loops back around to the inside, and Grady Jarrett and whoever else, Dontari Poe and those guys on the inside had swept guys down, and then he just had the
open lane to the
basically,
quarterback. Yeah, right.
And he's the fastest defensive end you've got.
Exactly, and that's the way you need to be using.
Yeah, yeah. Don't try to convert him to a linebacker.
No,
unless you're going to go 3-4 and then make him a Clay Matthews. Okay, now if you were going to do that, okay, fine, but we're not going to go to 3-4. I don't want to go to a 3-4.
No, I'd rather stick with I like the 4-3 under as far as you know.
Yeah, but that you're talking about a whole retool if you're doing that. But,
right. Well, let's pick up some chat here again, and we'll see. Going back up to Anthony Wright. What's up, Anthony? He says, you're not late. It's okay. Just get here when you can. It's all good. Let's see. Justin Tuggle says, but they won the Super Bowl, and plus he has a lot of embarrassing moments. I think you were talking about when you were talking about Sean Payton.
Yeah, well, he was caught popping pills.
I mean, flat out,
and stealing Vicodins or whatever it was.
I was flat out saying a point Toby made last week. If DQ won that Super Bowl, we're not having this conversation about DQ. So I agree there, 100%. Nick says records are good, rings are better. I agree. 100%.
I mean, of course, yes, I would love to have a ring,
right?
But only one team does that a year.
Exactly right. Let's see. Keenan Lewis brought up the whole new system takes time. Correct. Marty Young, what's up, Marty? Says egos and overthinking is what happened in the first half. It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes look, even the head coaches are alpha, personalities. So yeah, they got egos as well. And admitting you're wrong can be tough for people.
I mean, look at Kyle Shanahan, the guy who goes to San Francisco off of one of the best offensive seasons that a team has ever put together.
Right.
And he goes to San Francisco and falls flat on his face for 2 seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could have. It would not have surprised me in any way, shape, or form if San Francisco, after 2 seasons, and literally falling flat on his face 2 seasons in a row, they would look stupid. Obviously, we know what's going on with them now.
Well, yeah, but it's also led by defense.
It is led by defense, but at the same time, it's just you got to give a guy time. And yes, I'm not saying DQ hasn't had time, but come on, like the team that I always bring up is the Steelers.
Right.
The Steelers had 4 coaches, their entire history.
Right.
Okay.
And who's always in contention.
And they're even when they don't win Super Bowls, they're usually at least in contention for the playoffs almost every single season. They had, but even then, when we're talking about 3 or 4 coaches for their entire history, they've won 6 Super Bowls, but they've also had their lean years, really lean years with those same coaches that they didn't fire because they wanted that consistency. And you let a guy make mistakes
and figure it out.
Figure it out. Yep. Now, if we're talking, we're seeing the same thing another year, maybe 2, but I'd say probably 1 more year. If he comes back if he comes back next year, again, I think he should, and I actually think he will. But if he comes back for 1 more season and the same thing, then I mean, you got to cut bait. You got to go at that point.
Let's see.
I think this is the first season that has really been.
Real bad.
Real bad.
Right.
Real bad. Heads. We've had some seasons where the win totals weren't there, but we weren't getting blown out like we were.
Yeah,
or the defense wasn't we were losing on last second stuff.
Yeah, it was the way we were losing earlier that made it real bad. Let's see. Star Killer. Oh, cool. What's up, Star? Says DQ had me ticked. I couldn't even eat a Dairy Queen or see anything with those initials without coming nauseated. That's pretty bad.
Are good. You gotta go
back.
Right,
gotta go back. See, Fred Butt says I think a power struggle between DQ and Dimitroff is killing the team with bad signings, and that's something that we may not ever know. Cody Paul follows that up with Fred Carpenter, Brown, and Sombrello. I mean I'm sorry, that's inexcusable signing those 3 guys to that kind of money, and 2 of them are benched, full on.
One of them is in concussion protocol.
I'm talking about Ty Sombrello.
Oh, Sombrello, yes.
And Jamon Brown. Both of them are benched.
Yes.
Now, Carpenter's in concussion protocol.
Yes.
But, that's egregious right there.
I agree. But the weird thing with Dimitroff is I'm not sure. So here's the thing. I think what Dimitroff does is he gets together with his coach and says, hey, what do you need?
Right.
Okay. and whoever the coach is, whether it's Mike Smith or it's now Dan Quinn, they go in and they say, here's what, they kibitz and figure out what they need. And then basically Dan Quinn, I think, says, here's what I want, or here's what I need. Go out, and they target guys together and all those things. So I think Dimitroff, the reason why, if he does stay, even if Quinn goes, in my opinion, I think there would be a real good chance that Dimitroff himself would stay as an executive, simply because I think no matter whether it's a Mike Smith type of guy, Dan Quinn type of guy, a Mike McCarthy type of guy, or whoever else type of guy, that I think he can, by and large, work with them to get the guys they want. And I think that's the role of the general. Yeah, it can be the role of the general.
I would like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting to the point where I just want a fresh set of eyes evaluating talent, because it feels like we've had quite a bit of these, Jamon Brown and Carpenter-esque signings, especially to have it brought up like I brought up last week. Somebody reporting that overhearing Dimitroff saying to blank that he promised to fix the O-line. And then you go out and spend 2 first-round picks, sign these 3 guys, and Matt Ryan's still getting sacked like crazy.
Well, the 2 first-round picks seem to have
and that's
out.
Fine. I don't mind that. But, and, I'm not upset there.
Yeah.
And I understand the thought process of going out and signing quality backups or quality O-linemen to potentially be either starters or backups. I'm just now having a problem with the ones that you did sign. They seem to be, hot garbage.
But like when you're talking about linemen in that particular category, it's a crapshoot.
It is,
because you can go out and get a guy that was like literal dog poo the year before, okay, and then you sign him, change of scenery, can be good and bad.
Right.
He goes from one team and it can't play to save his life, is getting his quarterback killed, moves over to another team for whatever reason, just gels with the guys on the offensive line better, and all of a sudden I'm not saying he goes to a Pro Bowl level, but he becomes a serviceable guy you can plug into your line, and he won't get your quarterback killed.
Well,
and
these 3 that we signed are getting people killed.
Well, we've had him for a couple of years, haven't we?
Yeah, but did we
re-sign him?
Yes, we re-signed him. We
Okay.
re-signed him for like fringe starter money.
Okay.
And definitely backup money for sure.
Well, backup.
And but all right, so let's get back into it. Where are we at? Star Killer. Yep, I did read that one. All right. Keenan says, I like DQ. Let's see what happens with the staff one more year. Matt needs the same OC for more than a year. I agree there. Matt seems to take him a season to really click with whoever his OC is. At least that's been his tendency, even though another kind of burying the lead, he hit the over 4,000 mark for the 9th consecutive season once again.
Yeah.
Longest active streak in the league.
At the end of the day, if you give Matt Ryan a decent offensive line, and hell, you don't even have to give him a decent
and he's getting better about that too.
Yeah, so but if you give him a decent offensive line, I don't care who your OC is. I don't care what plays you run.
Yeah.
Unless like literally nobody can get open,
right?
Then you got a problem. But I mean, we got Julio Jones. We're gonna have Calvin Ridley. We got Devontae Freeman. All those things. We're gonna have, somebody is going to get open most of the time. So if you can give him the protection, it doesn't matter who your OC is. He's gonna be good.
No, I get you there. Let's see. Iron Mike says, exactly. I noticed them spicing it up with Vic first half of the season. He was just running sprints on the right side of the offensive line. I agree there. They're actually moving around and making him a formidable weapon again.
Yep.
Keenan Lewis says, strap it up. You'll have time to study in the offseason. Yeah, exactly. See, Keenan says, hit that like button. Hey, I appreciate it, Keenan. Yes, please hit the like button.
Yes, everybody
we like
please
those.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Tell a friend. No, I'm just kidding. Tell 2 friends. Have those friends tell friends. Anyway, Marty Young says Campbell might have drove his price through the sky with the last 5 games. He's really come on.
Yeah.
These last 5 games, and you're right. He may have driven. That's going to be. The team is going to look interesting next year with some of the decisions they have to make. Mr. Wilson says, y'all want to talk about Dimitroff's misses, but what about his hits? This isn't a one-man problem. All GMs have misses. No, I agree.
Yeah.
All GMs, and by no means do I think the drafting or free agent is an exact science. You're going to hit, you're going to miss. It really sucked to have what I consider to be 3 misses, this past year on the O-line.
And I can see that. I can get that.
It's just disappointing, I guess.
It is, and but like you said, it is what it is. I mean,
I agree.
We got Deion Jones, we got Grady Jarrett.
Oh yeah. You can't argue all those. But I wonder, how much of that was Pioli? Because you started really getting them late round gems with Pioli on board. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know.
That's possible.
It could be.
It's possible.
Again, we'll never know.
It could be DQ. A lot of DQ too. So
let's see. Nick says, "Don't fire Quinn. We have to learn a whole new system, both sides of the ball." Yeah, no, true. If we get a whole new coaching staff, there could be potential growing pains. I mean,
I want consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I want that. I don't want to be one of those teams. It's like, oh, we had 2 down years. We got to scrap everything and go in a new direction.
Then you quickly turn into
the
Cleveland
Jets.
and Cleveland Jets, Jags, those guys.
You don't want to be one of those kind of franchises.
Falconator says this offseason the main priority is to get rid of TD and Dirt Cutter first thing. Yeah, I don't know if it'll fix it, but I definitely was not enthused about getting Cutter back.
I mean, I can see getting rid of TD. The problem you run into there is if you get rid of TD, but you want to keep Quinn,
do you just give Belichick like control at that point?
I mean,
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't think he. I mean, he had problems when he was trying to be the defensive coordinator. So
true.
I don't think you want to go that route.
Now look, there's a whole conversation between Mr. Wilson and Keenan Lewis about Jake Matthews and Wes Schweitzer. Wes Schweitzer can go back to the bench.
Yes.
Jake Matthews is your left tackle for the long haul. He does a good job. He may not be like Mr. All-World.
He's not Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah, he's not Ogden, but I think he's good. He's above average in my opinion.
Yes.
But I know he likes to get people like to rag on him. Now, look, I see this one comment right here from I Do It For Jesus, who I know who that is. That's Toby D right there.
Uh-oh.
Toby, you were supposed to be out with your wife. I'm not going to tell her, but you not making it easy right there, buddy. Go back and enjoy. We're glad you dropped by, but go back to your anniversary,
How's
sir.
it going, Toby? Enjoy that dinner with the wife?
Whatever y'all are doing. Let's see. Keenan Lewis says, Guy Code, he says, Toby D, what's up? Anthony Wright says, if it's the case Dirt Cutter stays, he needs to run the football more than he does. Matt Ryan can't. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
The 50-40. No, he needs to get more back into a closer balance, like a 70-30, 60-40, definitely for sure. But it's Dirt Cutter's DNA to throw the ball all over the daggone place. That's who he is.
Yeah.
That's what he did down in Tampa.
I think if you're gonna bring Cutter back, you have to bring him back with the mandate of, hey, I understand that you want to throw the ball around, but we have to make sure
we got to run. Got to run. Iron Mike says it's not the draft's hits or misses. It's TD's wasting money on contracts. We're in a tough spot this year.
But you're also, when you have I love Arthur Blank.
Mm-hmm.
I love Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when you have your owner coming out saying he will be a
Falcon for life,
that kind of ruins your leverage as a general manager.
Yeah. There's a case to be made that Arthur Blank is, too close to it in a sense. But I'm not going to sit here and tell the man who owns the team to back up.
No.
Y'all can if you want to, but that's just not me.
I guarantee you, as soon as he read that, TD was just like,
son of a bitch. Yeah. Let's see. Iron Mike. We read that one. Says Fred Butt says we need a general manager like John Lynch. I wouldn't mind Troy Aikman. That's been floating around. I don't know. The one that intrigues me a little bit is Louis Riddick from ESPN. I like a lot of what he says on Twitter and stuff like that.
I liked Mayock.
Yeah.
And I thought, anytime I ever heard him, people wanted to rag on him for whatever reason.
I don't know why. I've always enjoyed Mayock.
Mayock has been like watching the draft with Mayock.
Oh, dude,
so much.
That was a highlight. Yeah.
Old
I missed him.
Big hair.
Yeah, I missed him this past draft season.
Oh
yeah. Okay, this is why Anthony Rice says this is why we should fire Thomas Dimitroff and bring back Scott Pioli as our general manager, not just an assistant GM. I mean, as long as he, gets himself in like check as far as like the craziness that he was doing out in Kansas City,
there was some
spying on folks and all that.
There was some real weird paranoid.
I mean, if he can get that stuff under check, then I wouldn't mind. I like Scott Pioli, the talent evaluator.
I mean, the stories I've read about him, like as a guy, like just a guy you would sit at a bar and have a beer with.
Yeah, he's that dude.
Seems like a really nice guy.
Right.
But Kansas City having all the stories coming out of there, if you want to be my GM, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. Let's see. Justin Tuggle says, do you mean consistent as in starting through the last 3 seasons slow, then picking up when the playoffs are out of sight? LOL, because that's what DQ does. Well, I mean, it's an argument to be made. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not.
I mean, so the guy got in the first year, we had a rough start. We came on strong at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the next year, we kind of were whatever the first half of the year, but then the second half of the year, we took off and got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay. Then the third year, we went back to we were like the only team in the NFC that went to the playoffs in 2016, that went back to the playoffs in 2017.
Exactly.
Beat the tar out of the Rams. And we should have won in Philadelphia. And I think if we beat Philadelphia like we should have, I think we go on to win that Super Bowl.
Yeah, no,
because
you're right.
I think we
were a better team,
more battle-tested team in 2017, and I think that's what would have happened.
Exactly. Let's see. R2K says, Anthony, I agree. TD needs to be given his pink slip, and we covered that. Marty Young says, if we keep those 2 second-round picks, will we draft another receiver for Dirk? I hope not. He can continue to play with the receivers that he's got right now.
I think if we look at the 3 receivers right now being like the 3 main receivers being Julio, Ridley, Gage, I'm perfectly fine with that. Gage is turning into a pretty good slot receiver.
You can let Hardy walk, let Blake take little bit of reps that Hardy had, so I'm good there.
Well, maybe Hardy's. I know Hardy's really good on special teams.
He is. Maybe you bring him back as a special teams. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. J. Ron says leave TD, leave TD alone. Keep DQ for one more. There you go. Keenan Lewis says 24, 59, 22, 81. Sounds like the lottery pick. Says what are we doing with those? Okay, so 24 Devontae, 59 Campbell, 22 Neal, 81 Hooper. You cut Devon Freeman.
We're just going to
blitzkrieg this one.
Okay.
We're going to cut Freeman. Do you cut Freeman? Quick answer. Yes, no. No, okay, you don't cut. Cut Freeman. Resign Devondre? Or let him walk?
I want to, but probably.
Probably let him walk. Okay. Neal, injury prone, possibly 2 years running.
But he could be the next Thomas Davis.
Could be. So you keep him for one more year, don't pick up his 5th year?
Yeah, but then what do you do with
Allen?
Allen, because he's now playing strong safety
and looking good at it.
And he's looking good, and
right?
KZ's looking really good at free safety.
Maybe you let Campbell walk and let Neal play linebacker.
I can deal with that.
All right, we'll try that for a season. See how that goes. 81 Hooper. You re-sign Hooper.
I want to so
you
bad.
Re-sign Hooper is what you do. He just got comfortable. Matt Ryan has put so much time in him.
I completely agree with you, and I want to do it. I do. I hope we do. Am I 100% positive we're going to?
All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep right on rocking. Speaking of rock, what's up, JR? It's Rock from the What's Up Falcons podcast. What's up, Rock? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you as well and y'all's family. Did I miss the Vic talk yet? Yes, Rock, you missed the Vic talk.
Yes,
and
you did.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. At bare minimum, I think you should franchise Vic as an outside linebacker, so you save a little bit of money. You can have that talk.
I don't know if him and his agent are going to
look. That's
go
fine.
for that.
You can argue. That's fine. But we can at least tag him at the outside linebacker money.
Maybe that was the plan. Maybe that was the reason why they were trying to play him as a linebacker for a couple of years.
Hey, I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I say you do with Vic. I say you bring him back one more year and see if it finally clicked.
Yep.
Because I'd hate to see him go to another team just to have it click all over our faces.
I'm looking forward to Tack next year because I think, especially in the second half of the season, he hadn't gotten the numbers like Vic has, but I think Tack is another guy that come next year, again, if he can keep that shoulder healthy.
That's going to be the thing.
If he can keep his shoulder healthy, then I think, hopefully it's going to pay off for him. I mean, he has caused a lot of sacks and or hurries and what have
Yeah,
you.
his production has been known, maybe not on the stat sheet, but all right, let's see. R2K says TD is terrible GM. I love how divisive the fans are. It makes me happy. All right, Ghost Pepper. What's up, Ghost? All right, says I am sorry, but I'm not blinded by the second half resurgence we had last year, and I was supposed to carry over into this year. Everyone was healthy, and it didn't. That's a point that I mean, that's like I said, that's something that Dan Quinn is going to have to answer.
Yep.
Like why did y'all suck so bad in the beginning? I mean, he's gonna have to answer that question.
I mean, I guarantee you that he's already given that answer.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to give it again, I would think. Fred Butt says Dirk Cutter did get us to the NFC Championship game in 2012. He's not that bad. I know, but
we should have won that game too.
Yeah, we should have.
And we would have beat the crap out of the Ravens.
Man, come on. Tuggle again. Man, Tuggle, you're being Debbie Downer today. Says we're the only team that loses 28-3 in a freaking Super Bowl. No excuses. He needs to go. Lord, you're bringing up every negative point humanly possible, Tuggle. All right, R2K says defense needs to be paid a lot more attention. I agree. J. Ronnie says keep DQ and TD. Anthony Wright says we also have to re-sign. Oh Lord, that's a list of people right there, Anthony. Okay, Tyler Davidson, but you can let Bailey walk. Yeah, I'm not been super impressed by Bailey. He's been serviceable, but I don't know if he's going to be worth the money.
Davidson. He's a good run stopper.
Yeah, I like Davidson.
Yeah.
He can stay. Crawford is starting to pick it up again.
I think he's a good rotational guy.
Yeah, he is a good rotational guy.
He got a sack this past weekend.
He did. He got him a sack. That's good. Falconator says we need to draft a defensive tackle and a left guard. I agree completely.
Yeah. Prince or what's Brown?
Oh, Derek Brown
Derek
from Auburn.
Brown.
Yeah.
But we may be playing our way out of that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
maybe
happens.
Maybe TD will do a whole big trade up thing.
If he does that, it better be for Chase Young.
Well, we got the extra.
We do have the extra second round. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be a fun offseason to talk about.
Yep.
Let's see. Marty Young says cut Trufant. That may very well happen because of contract.
I mean, you see, Trufant's been out, and we got Sheffield
and they're
Lee
not
Ray Wilson.
Yeah,
and
Isaiah Oliver.
He's been looking pretty good.
Yeah. So
it's way better than the first half of the season.
Yeah, no doubt.
Way better.
Let's see. Fred Butt says I saw somewhere we might get the big running back out of Alabama. Harris. Yeah, it's early on that kind of stuff.
I mean, if you're going to cut Devontae, then yeah, you're probably going to go looking. Well, I mean, you might
not
cut Devontae and then go with Ito.
Yeah, because then you would have if you went with what you got now, Ito, Brian Hill, and Quadre Olison. That's a pretty good stable right there.
Yep.
As far as like just doing what you can do there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Bug says Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Keenan Lewis says Crawford bye. Hun Zolo on tap music. That is a great name there. Says if we late first round get Swift, Devondre, I'm assuming the running back out of Georgia. I do not want to run it back in the first round.
Nope.
I'm just going to go ahead and call it.
Nope.
I like your enthusiasm, but no.
Nope.
Need a difference maker other than Julio. To me, that's why you need to keep Hooper. Hooper is turning into that difference maker.
Well, yes. Like I said, I want to keep Hooper. The problem is his production this year, even with the missed games, is such that the price he's just maybe priced out of our range, unfortunately.
Well, whoever the GM is better get some.
I mean, then you go talk to Mickey Loomis. That dude seems to go get guys somehow.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Owing money to the league somehow.
Rock comes back again, says, "Sorry, my friend. Tax shoulders only going to get worse. Don't pay him the big bucks." That's what I'm afraid of there. You know, you draft a guy who had shoulder problems coming out of college, and guess what? He still has shoulder problems.
Yeah, but he basically made it through most of this year without that issue. So
we'll see.
I don't know if it's the same one.
Yeah.
It might be.
Now that's true. That's something I would have to look at. But if let's see. Tuggle says, "Hello, sorry. Just tired of the team playing with my emotions. Aren't we all? We all?
I've been a fan. 90? So when I first started really paying attention to the Falcons, it was 90.
You gonna show me a receding hairline next? What you got there, old man? Don't show it. No. You got okay. You good.
It was like 96.
Yep.
And then the 97 season, like the second half of that, what's happening. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what's happening right now feels exactly like the 97 season. We started off 2-6.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up 6-2. Went to the next year, went 14-2.
Right.
Beat Minnesota. Went to the Super Bowl.
And the rest is history, as they say.
So, but either way, the 98 season was, I'd been watching him for a couple seasons and started to get real hyped on him. And then the 98 season was the season that made me a fan.
Right. I got you. Let's see. So you're saying your emotions have been played with for years now.
The whole Vic saga?
Right?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, Anthony Wright says we need to part ways with Freeman, Campbell, Bailey, Crawford, and Jamon. Oh, good Lord, okay.
I agree with everybody except Crawford. I want to keep Crawford.
Yeah, I would like to keep Crawford. I don't think it's going to cost you that much to keep Crawford.
I would like Devontae, but I would like to see if maybe he'll take a pay cut.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, no.
He won't.
Why would you?
I wouldn't.
10 Stormy Days says those empty seats might affect the decision on everyone and everything. It's possible. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business. Flat out, Yep. And if Arthur thinks he's not making enough money or could be making better money, then that's what it's going to be. R2K says got to keep Hoop. Don't pay Beasley either. Not consistent enough. So that's why I say, unless Beasley's willing to take a really reasonable deal, I would franchise him and see if he can do it for one more year.
Yeah.
I would do that before I entertained paying him a long-term contract at all.
Yep.
He's just way too up and down.
Yep.
Even though I really like Beasley, and I remember how hyped we were when we drafted him, but just way too up and down.
Man, we could have had TJ Watt too.
Could have. Don't remind me. Please don't remind me. I did a video about him. Don't remind me. Anyway, Falconator says it is his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Falconator.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, good job. Glad you decided to spend your birthday eve with us. Thank you very much. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. We went a little over the mark. Normally we try to wrap it up at about an hour. Like I said, we went a little bit over. I think we covered pretty much everything. Hopefully we can, finish this season strong and get a win down in Tampa. Yep. At this point in time, another win isn't going to mess with our draft stock too much. Plus, that's never a guarantee, as we've always said.
Man, I just want to win.
That's right. I want to win.
I don't care about the draft because
it is what it is.
We drafted Vic Beasley early on and early in the draft, and he hasn't turned out quite the way we wanted.
But then you got Grady Jarrett like rounds later. Fifth round. 4 rounds later, and he's a monster. So
it's such a crapshoot,
right?
Unless you're talking about guys like a Julio Jones.
Yeah, I mean there are a few that are almost like a flat out given. But as far as like losing to get a better draft stock, no, I'm good. I want to win flat out.
There's very, very few or very rare times where, especially the NBA is different.
Right.
The NFL is a different beast.
Completely different.
Tanking in the NFL
doesn't
seem like it has helped anybody if they did it on purpose.
That's right. So, like I said, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back next week on our same time on Tuesday. Toby D should be back with me. Everybody say thank you, Jonathan, for sitting in and giving me somebody to bounce off of. So,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, and we'll definitely get you back on for sure. That was a lot of fun. And you can find us on me on Twitter at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. Toby D is at TobyD1991. Jonathan, do you want people to follow you?
No, I am off the grid. I am anonymous.
Okay, he is anonymous, so Jonathan doesn't do the tweeters. But yeah, if you want to hit us up there, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good fun stuff. Emma says bring home some cat food. It looks like is what she said. So make sure you bring home. I know. Well, just bring home some. Anyway, Thank you, Emma, for letting Jonathan sit in here with me. The podcast, for those who like to download it and listen to it that way, will be up in a couple days. With everything going on, it might take me a little bit longer, but you can always, just hit it on YouTube and all that stuff. But as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.